I have a question regarding economy and how to understand this poke from life. I'm wondering if there is a self-esteem or self-worth issue at the bottom of this. I want to move from survival mode into more abundance, do something I enjoy, and maybe in time make money from my talents. But it seems I have a major blockage somewhere, and it's getting pretty urgent. Thank you. So, I guess this was for all of you. Yep, money equals happiness. We all know this. The thing is, when it comes to economy, is there a self-worth issue behind it? Yes, there is. Now, there's one thing that's really interesting about money, and I have addressed this several times. Money is an energy. And it's like blood. It flows. It's the universal energy that combines ideas, creativity, manifestation, and exchange. So it's an energy. And it flows around the world like blood flows in veins. Some individuals have developed the ability to be part of that bloodstream. They have developed the veins to let money flow through them because it's an energy. The interesting thing today is that there's been a shift. Now, people used to be able to get rich from work. One used to say that you can work hard and then you will earn money. It's not like that anymore. You get rich through ownership, by owning, not through working. It's basically being present in something that will allow you to take part in wealth and abundance. And one of the reasons why we've had this shift is that we need to understand that wealth and prosperity is energy, it's consciousness. So we're gradually removing it from practical work. So yes, can you channel abundance? Yes, you can. You can never get rich through work, if that's what you want. Of course, the easiest thing is to sleep with somebody rich. A lot of people do that too, and they have great success with it. So that's one angle. It's also a way of taking ownership, I guess. But in general, think of wealth, prosperity as energy, and ask yourself, are you connected to it? The thing is, most people always feel, I'm not worthy. Oh, I'm a terrible person. We use so much time telling ourselves negative stuff. And now, the reason for that is, and it is increasing. And why is it increasing? Remember that as individuals, as humans, our number one focus is survival. But survival also on a social, cultural level. Now, when we used to live in small groups or small villages, there really wasn't a lot of competition. If you were the baker, you were the only baker, they would have to buy your bread, no matter if it sucked. because you were the baker. Then in bigger cities, there is more competition. You have to get better at what you do. But today, in a globalized world, we're all losers. And that's why we tell ourselves we're winners, because we're not. Because we all want to, like, our instincts is to go to the top of the mountain. But, we're billions of people, and no, it's not going to happen. So, because we feel like failures in this kind of global model of competition, to ease the blow, we tell ourselves that, yeah, you're not good anyway. You're just a terrible person. You don't deserve better. Because we don't want anybody else to tell us. So we've seen an increase over the last decade in the negative thoughts people tell themselves. And we become more competitive. Just look at young kids today, the pressure they're under, the enormous competition they face in every aspect of life. And because of that, they have to tell themselves, because it's quite clear they can't win everything. So they start telling themselves all these negative stories. And when you decide that you're not worthy, obviously because you're not winning, you're not good enough because there's always somebody better, you gradually disconnect yourself from abundance. And it becomes all about survival. And we see in the world today that, of course, the people on top are getting richer and richer and richer because they know that they're all that, because they are rich and they get the confirmation every day. And they think that they're better than anybody else, and they keep telling themselves that they're better than anybody else and that they deserve every dollar they've got and then some. And that's unhealthy too. But because of our instincts of competition, the flip side is that we will all tell ourselves that we are losers. And then we internalize it because it's basically being bullied, when we're all losers because we can't all win. We start behaving like kids being bullied. At some point, they will believe it. They will believe that they deserve it. And that's what we're doing. We are internalizing the competition. And then it's quite obvious I'm not good enough. It's quite obvious I don't deserve anything. And then that becomes your story. Abundance is something different entirely. And to take part in abundance, it's important to grow out of this because these, again, are genetic programmings. They were probably very useful several hundred years ago or thousands of years ago, but today the competition instincts we have are not adjusted to our lives today. So instead of helping us, we become self-destructive. It's also interesting when it comes to how we people become aggressive and greedy. We would think that as we get more stuff, as society becomes better, that we start sharing more and take care of one another more. But our genetic programming is opposite. For our own survival, and this is completely selfish, when there's very little of anything, for the sake of your own survival, you will start collaborating. You will work together. You will share. You will take care of one another because you have to. It's the only way you can survive. And it's not because we're better people then. It's completely selfish. It's a genetic programming that, when there's a crisis, when we don't have enough to eat, we all have to work together. Because throughout history, that's worked. But when there is more, when there is plenty, the opposite happens. Because we want to be the genetic winner. Like in times when there's very little food, it's basically about the survival of the group. When there is plenty, it's about the survival of the strongest individual because they are supposed to spread their genes. And therefore, our instincts in competitions will be sharpened. So the more stuff we have, the better society is, the more cruel we become. We start seeing everybody as competitors because we want to get to the number one spot. And we do it as if our life depended on it. And genetically, it does. This is about the survival of the life form and picking out the best individuals, the best specimens, to bring the life form forward. So from a biological standpoint, this is how nature works. But we like to think of ourselves that when we have more, yes, we got more to share, but we all get more egotistical. We all get more aggressive. We start seeing everybody as competitors. And we just want them out of our fucking way. And this is also one of the reasons why a lot of people feel that they want a simpler life. Because with less stuff, maybe living, the dream of living out in the countryside, small communities, is simply that we respond differently to that. We're not triggered genetically to become aggressive and selfish and competitive. And it also means that we will think more kind and gentle thoughts. Also, not only about others, but also about ourselves. So, in the world of plenty that we've got now, society is getting crueler. And you can see it almost every year. It gets worse. The more stuff we've got, the worse it gets. So this is also why we gradually have to change this. Over time, we will find better political models, better financial models. We will, but it will take time. But understand again, as we discussed yesterday, that when it comes to spiritual growth and waking up your consciousness fully, you often have to go against your instincts and against your programmings. So, self-worth and money. You have to understand that what you think you're worth is just a mind game. You exist, period. The sun shines on you. The sun doesn't care about your self-worth issues. The sun shines. Nature is not relating to your process. You exist. You have the same access to life as everybody else. You're not worth more to the sun because you're a human. You're not worth more than the plant or anything else. You're not worth anything because it's not relevant. The concept of worth belongs in a model of competition. Worth means how much are you worth in comparison to others. Back to what we discussed yesterday about context. Ego is context. Ego relies on context, therefore, worth. So understand that your self-worth is an ego game. We are one. It's completely without worth. It's beyond the concept of worth. It is. And therefore, you are. All life is equal. So, to take part in abundance, you need to recognize that. And you need to recognize that it applies to everybody else too. Because as long as you're thinking about your worth, you're thinking about it in regard to others, which means that if you have a high worth, it means you have to think that others have a lower worth, less worth. So don't. Grow out of it. Grow out of that model, that way of thinking, and understand it's only a mind game that the ego does. It's not relevant to nature at all. Abundance is nature. It's a free flow of nature. It's like air. It's an attitude, it's a consciousness, it's an energy. So, let's just now do an exercise. So just close your eyes. Now, breathe deeply a few times. Look at the world around you. And gradually float above this area. And just look at this area from above. And gradually move out so you can see a larger area. You can see the country. Just float out until you can see the whole planet. And observe the life energy on the planet. There is this enormous abundance of life energy that never stops. Move slowly in, and you can see that there is this system of energies, just like veins, that's pumping all that life energy. You can see it. It's everywhere. It's just pumping. So that intense light, that intense life energy flows everywhere, but in veins. Smaller veins, bigger veins. You can see them passing through businesses, individuals, nature. You can see that more prosperity is created every time it passes through something. You can see in that flow, you can see money. You can see wealth. Everything you associate with wealth can be objects, money, gold, diamonds, houses, boats, yachts, airplanes, whatever, just like the energy of wealth. But just see that it flows freely around the world. And now land in the middle of it and look at yourself. Are you connected? Thought so. Now do something about it. Look at your own body. And from your own core, see that you have all these veins growing out, veins of light. And you connect yourself to the stream of abundance. As you do it, feel it starting to pump through you. And you can just observe it. What you're thinking, your attitudes have nothing to do with it. This is a life force. It is pumping through anything that wants it. And there's more than enough for everybody. And the more life forms that are part of it, the more it grows. Because it's part of co-creation. Just feel that energy. And see now that you allow that flow into your life. So look at your life. And just like see that there are veins opening up. And you can see money just pouring in. Manifestations of wealth and abundance. It's just pouring into your life. You don't even have to create it. It's an energy. Allow it. And just see it happening. And realize that your attitudes towards yourself is irrelevant. This is nature. Just let it pour through. Let it permeate through everything in your life. And at the same time, pan out a little bit so you can see your life being connected to the rest of the flow in the world. And realize it's got nothing to do with deserving. It's nothing to do with worth. This is just like sunlight or water or air. It's just there. And now breathe. Breathe deeply. And decide that you're breathing abundance. So breathe deeply. Take it all in. And set yourself free of your own spiritual poverty. Everything belongs to you. And you belong to everything. Abundance is part of oneness. Separation from it causes poverty. How much abundance can you take? How much wealth can you handle? Allow it. Imagine yourself being rich. What would your life be like? Don't just look at the objects, look at yourself. Who are you when you allow yourself to be rich? As Atma, you have access to everything. May you open your eyes. We'll be selling lottery tickets over there in the break.